vast majority of the world, it appears that life is pretty long on misery and short on joy and short on aliveness. Now, I define aliveness as being that excitement, the stimulation, the joy, the pleasure that makes life worth living. That positive feeling of being there, being alive, enjoying it. Challenge. But most people don't experience very much of that. And I think one of the primary reasons is that at a very, very early age, we begin to repress who we really are. We begin to wrap ourselves in these layers of fear. Probably the best way I can think of to express it. From my perspective, everyone in this room is a totally self-actualized, already enlightened human being, soul, entity. We've just forgotten. We've come down here and we've gotten involved in a lot of stuff, and we've taken on these layers of fear over many, many lifetimes. The best way I know how to express it, I guess. Now we're here and we're trying to remove these layers of garbage and fear that we've wrapped ourselves within. And pretty soon we're going to get rid of them, and we're going to find out just how enlightened and self-actualized we really already are beneath the fear. But it's the repression primarily that's creating these fears. So much of the fear is coming out of repression. And at a very early age, our parents are telling us what good little boys do and what good little girls do, and society begins very early to tell us how to behave, how to dress, how to everything. How to be a lady and a gentleman, which to me is to say to become a hypocrite and a phony. Because somebody who is a lady or a gentleman is wearing a mask of proper attire, proper manners, proper etiquette. I'm doing things the way you want me to do them. Not necessarily the way I am or I want to do them, but I'll behave the way society says. So there's the beginning of the repression. Ladies and gentlemen do the right thing. They're conventional. They're characters in a play. They become so concerned with what other people think that you wear the mask. You're no longer who you are. You're responding to expectations, I guess that's a better way to say it. You're responding to the expectations of other people, and the expectations of other people have to be the ultimate enemy of freedom. As I said in the beginning, this is about freedom. It's about liberation. The moment we give away our freedoms, we begin to succumb to the fears. We start wrapping those layers of fear around us when we give up these freedoms. We begin to close down, and we begin to burn out. There's a lot of burned out people in this room. Doesn't look like it, but there are. Guarantee you, I know the numbers. I know how it works. Somewhere right about the time, it seems like it starts about 30. Most people make it to 30. Most, not all. Make it to 30 before they start to burn out. But at about 30, all too often, we start to run on momentum. Like getting on the bicycle. And first you got to work hard, and you got to pedal it and get it up to speed and get it going. But then it's real easy to just go along on the momentum. And that's what it seems to me the vast majority of people do. And no matter how you make a living, at one time maybe it was exciting, but pretty soon to keep the peanut butter on the table and to pay the rent and the car payment, it gets boring. In life, we start to get tired of it all, and we get bored. And then we start to look for places to hide. And we all look for different kinds of places to hide. Some people will go to a bar. Boy, you talk about a sad, negative place to hide. To me, it's a bar. But look at how full they are and how many there are. And you go, some people will get involved in excess TV watching. There's a good place to hide. I won't notice that I'm so bored if I'm sitting in front of the TV. Or gossip. I'll tell you a good place that a lot of metaphysical people hide. They hide in the cosmic foo-foo stuff. I'll go to see Muga tomorrow from Mars tonight channel and tell me all about what is. A lot of hiding going on there. One thing, though, they're proving, the mind research people, brain-mind research people, they're proving that the mind cannot take boring. I'm not telling any of you anything new. You know this, you've read this, you've heard it. There's a new book out called People Who Get Sick. It's a case study. And you know what I'm going to say. The people who have a sense of purpose and they have aliveness and challenge in their lives, they don't get sick but about this much by comparison to this much for the people who are bored, have no sense of purpose, don't know really what they want to do. And that's just one of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of studies that have been going on for a long time. It doesn't work. Boredom, depression, and then your mind will create something to make life interesting. Your mind can't take boredom, it can't take ho-hum, it can't take mundane. It will do something, it will create something to make your life interesting. Now that may be something very simple, like just fighting with your mate. You know, at least if you fight, you know you're alive. I hurt. God, I'm alive. It hurts in my gut when we do that. Or you get sick. Or you have an accident. And if you're fighting for your life, that gives you something to get involved in. Your mind can't take it. There's a lot of studies about people who retire. You know, you work all your life. Wow, work, 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 so I can get to retire. To do what? To do nothing. What are you going to do? Nothing. So what happens? They die. They die. And there's no reason for that, more often than not. Because your mind can't take boring and ho-hum and mundane. Now let's tie this in with science a little bit. Very loosely, but let's tie it into science. Einstein discovered that matter is energy. Matter is energy. Matter appears solid. But they also say that's not solid. It's a lot of swirling molecules that are swirling around at a vibrational rate of metal. I guess this is metal. Appearing to be solid. But it is not. It's being held together by a yin-yang tension of this planet, this game that we're playing. Same with the chair you're sitting on, the plant out in the hall. It's not solid. Swirling molecules, great exchanges of energy going on. The same with your body. And the physicists say the same with your mind. And I would imagine the same with your soul. And the only difference between the music stand here and your body and your mind and your soul is going to be the vibrational rate. I think the whole universe, I think it's very simple. I can write big, thick books, and everybody else in the field writes great, big, thick books about how it all works. I don't think it's really very complicated at all. I think the entire universe functions the same way. It's all vibrational rate. And all of the metaphysical study can come right back to this. It's vibrational rate. The highest vibration, I would imagine, is within the part of you that we could call the soul. That soul atom or whatever it is. But you are vibrational energy, held together by a yin-yang force that is absolutely necessary for structure to exist on this planet. Way back when I was writing You Were Born Again to Be Together, I was writing it in 1975, so that's a long time ago. But one of the people I interviewed for that book was a scientist at from White Sands, New Mexico, physicist. And he explained at the time they were working on experiments to prove that energy could not die. And he said what they were doing is they were isolating energy, the smallest molecule of energy. I forget what it's called, a tachydon or something. Of course, it's way too small to be seen with the naked eye. They could isolate it in a cloud chamber, a sealed cloud chamber, so that nothing else could get in, and this little molecule of energy could not get out. And so now they want to observe it. Well, you can't see it, so they had to use ultra high-sensitive film special film to photograph the molecule of energy within the sealed cloud chamber. And when they viewed it, they could see very plainly on the screen that the molecule had a size and a weight and a pattern and a speed, and it was living its life within the molecule, within the chamber. And then it appears to fall to the bottom of the chamber and die. Only they left the cameras on, and pretty soon they found that it was back. Only now this molecule of energy had a new size and a new weight and a new pattern and a new speed. And it continued this process. And this guy, he said, I've been an agnostic all my life. And he said, I'm rethinking religion. I'm seriously rethinking religion, because he said, I know that I'm energy. And now I'm beginning to realize that energy cannot die. It can only transform. Can only transform. And he said, all of their experiments with energy also prove that energy is either moving forward or backward, dissipating, preparing to transform. Maybe transform, maybe a better word than transform would be to reincarnate. I don't know. So energy is going ahead, it's moving forward and it's expanding, or it's moving backward. It cannot stand still. It has to do this within the cloud chamber. You have to keep moving, mentally and physically. To stand still is to stagnate. And you're moving very rapidly then towards the transformation, which you can relate to dying and getting to come back. I played with that a lot since. That's 14 years ago. And I've come to some pretty strong conclusions about what makes the energy move forward. And I'm convinced that it's aliveness and challenge that is making the energy move forward. I think aliveness and challenge is the most spiritual thing you could be involved in. You want to boil all this back down to what really is. Now, I've had a lot of cosmic foo-foo spiritual teachers get hysterical at me over this, telling me how off the wall I am about this kind of an idea. That if you want to find nirvana and you want to check out of the world this time and do it right, you're going to sit and chant, you're going to meditate, your way into heaven. And that's bullshit. I have nothing against meditation. Meditation is part of my life. Tara and I do it together. It's part of her life, but in short little segments. We do programming, we do self-hypnosis. What I'm talking about here is excessive meditation. This is what most of the gurus would have you do to advance spiritually. What happened is, in the recent years, we've come to understand what really happens when you meditate a whole lot. I started to get very suspicious back in probably about 73, 74, when a friend of mine was taking one of the meditation courses. And he was a dentist in Scottsdale, Arizona. And dentists, you know, that's a stressful thing to be in, because everybody that comes to you hates you. And you're not around, it's not the best vibes all day long. And the highest suicide rate of any profession is that of dentists, as some of you probably know. Shows a little bit about energy and negativity, maybe, huh? But he not only was facing the profession that he was in and all that negativity, he also had an alcoholic wife. So his life was very, very stressful. So he took up meditation, and every morning for at least 40 minutes and every night for at least 40 minutes, he would meditate. And pretty soon, those of us who knew him said, hey, you don't have anything to say to anyone anymore. And his bit was, no, I guess not, but I'm happy. And he worked in a medical complex, so he went down to a friend, medical doctor, said, check me out in the EEG, will you? And here he is, wide awake in the middle of the afternoon. And the guy said, my God. He says, you're stoned. You're wide awake and you're stoned. Way deep, deep down into alpha, although he's wide awake. Now, problem with this is that he was not only detaching from the negativity, yes, of course he was, and it was helping him to deal with it. Maybe it's the best answer for him. But he was also detaching from everyone and everything in his life to the same degree. He was detaching from the good as well as the negative. You can do that by smoking grass. It works real well. You can take Valium. It does the same thing. I don't think we're here to learn to deal with the world, to learn to consciously detach and to rise above our fears stoned. It just doesn't seem to me that it works that way. You want to go down to Westwood here any night on Saturday night. Oh, tonight. God, it'd be great. Go down, have fun. The kids love to go down there so they can get to watch the Hare Krishnas who come out. You want to see stoned? Go down and see them with their tambourines. And it's really fun nowadays, too, because the born-agains have targeted them. And the born-agains are really into beta. They're not into alpha at all. Born-again Christians come in screaming and ranting and raving with Bibles in the hands, and the Hare Krishna is just kind of, and it's fun. Willie loves it. Actually, you look at the Hare Krishna, you see they've got it handled a lot better, boy. They're real mellow through the whole thing. And the police come and take away the born-agains, and it makes for an interesting Saturday evening. I don't think the answer is excessive meditation. I think we have to learn, wide awake, fully alert, I think we have to learn to detach from the negativity in our lives. It's that simple. Now I want to add something else here. I think I do. I think I want to bring this in. There's another important factor about negativity, or about energy. Let me do it this way. Something else very important about energy. If you understand how energy works, you realize the importance, of course, of the challenge and making your life work, but you'll also come to understand that anything as a natural expression of energy, it seems that anything that is totally successful tends to destroy itself. Now this gets real heavy, because what that's saying is if you go ahead and you just allow yourself to be totally successful in your relationship or in your career or in anything else that you might do, you'll probably destroy it. You'll destroy your success, your spiritual awareness, whatever it might be. And there's no way that you dare allow yourself that, so you don't allow yourself to become totally 100% successful in your relationship or your career or anything else. I think we all know subconsciously that this is what happens. The energy function, the universe itself, functions as a yin-yang balance. Everybody in here is familiar with that. You've heard it a million times. Yin and yang. Yin negative, yang positive. We all contain dual aspects. The love and the hate and the harmony and the chaos and the good and the evil. I hate the labels, but we all have all of this within us. And as a natural expression of the law of opposites, that which is totally successful tends to destroy itself. I never set out to be a student of history, but I would regress people into past lives, and I get these phenomenal stories about their past lives. And so I'd want to look it up and see if that was true, if that happened historically. And so I'd read the history books, and I got bigger and bigger and bigger and better sets of history books. Find out, wow, this did happen. They're correct historically in this regression. Let's explore it a little more. Let's check it out a little further. But what I also started to see was some patterns. And one of the interesting patterns is that historically, no country that has ever reached its peak and has been unopposed, if it reaches its peak and it's unopposed, it fragments and falls apart all on its own. Countries only stay up here at the peak as long as there is a challenge, as long as they are opposed by other countries. It's an interesting fact. Explore it yourself. And then I thought about all of the people that I'd counseled over the years, all of the men and the women pattern that I would see over and over and over again, where they come together and they get through college, this awful situations of she's trying to work nights and support him, and they're both trying to get through school, and they're having a kid, the parents dying over here, and they got all these awful things happening, and there's no way they can possibly make it, and yet they do. They survive, they get through, they're successful, and once they're successful, that's when the whole thing falls apart. Again and again and again, I've worked with couples who've gone through that. I'll bet there's quite a few in this room. In other words, the minute there was no longer any challenge, it fell apart. I've seen it with spirituality. This has been my business for quite a while. I've seen a lot of people spiritually. Look at the number of scandals in the New Age alone in the last few years. These people get up there, they're doing really good, they're doing all this national attention and media stuff, and then there's this big scandal. They destroy it. My file on that is this thick. I see it again and again and again. You see the honest man. All of a sudden, somehow he inherits money, or he comes up with a lot of money and destroys him. Intuitively, we know it. This tension is necessary. Intuitively, we know that we must express this yin-yang tension, I guess. Don't think of negative as bad. That's something else. You know, yin is female energy, right? Females are not bad. Don't think of the negative and the positive as necessarily bad. Try to get out of that context. I like to use the analogy of an automobile battery. If you know anything about a battery, you know that it's one plate is charged positively, the next is negative, the next is positive, the next is negative. It's the exchange of energy between the positive and the negative that creates the power to drive your car or to start your car. So, negative's not bad. But the way we express a lot of the negative side does not work for us. We need to express it, though. We need to express the yin and the yang. And so we get involved in expressing a lot of yin that's not serving us. Fighting with your mate would certainly be, or with anyone, would certainly be an expression of yin energy, the negative side of this energy that we know is necessary in our lives. Self-denial, excessive hard work, gambling. These would all be expressions of yin energy. Dangerous activities, anything from driving too fast to skydiving, I suppose, whatever else. That would be an expression of yin energy. Arguing, fighting, illness, of course. War would be the ultimate expression of yin energy. A whole lot of us need to balance a whole lot of energy very quickly. That's a good way to do it. So the question is, how do we get around this negativity? How do we get around the self-destruction? How do we have the totally successful career and not destroy it? How do we have the totally successful relationship and not destroy it? And the answer is challenge. All you have to do is look at the pattern and see where the destruction falls, the way it falls. When there's challenge, it works. When there's challenge, the energy is driving forward. Aliveness and challenge drives you forward. Talk to any psychologist or psychiatrist that day after day after day deals with people. Depressed people. When they're depressed, there's rarely any challenge in their lives. Best way to find it, just say, well, what do you do? How do you spend your day? Well, I get up and maybe I fix my husband breakfast and maybe I don't. Maybe I watch the soap opera and maybe... It doesn't work. So you have to replace the negative tension with challenge. Now, I know this can be done. I've had so many people come back to me and say, God, I did it. I did it this way or I did it that way. The couple that struggled through all that adversity, how does it work? What do you do? They figured, well, we've made it. That's it. We don't have to work at it. We just sit back. That's it. They got bored and it all fell apart. What if they'd incorporated challenge into their life? What if they'd have added something new, challenging, something exciting? They probably wouldn't have split. Same thing with the country. As long as the challenge was there to hold the people together. Born-again Christians know this, but what do they know? They've got to keep that fear pumping. They've got to tell all their people that the New Age is going to take over, and that way they can get all their people pulling together. How do you incorporate more challenge into your life? Positive challenge, not negative challenge. Driving too fast, that's maybe challenging, but that's negative challenge. You got to do it in such a way that you minimize jeopardy, obviously. You know, you might say, oh, well, marina's right down here below us. We'll just run out there and we'll sail to Hawaii. That'll be challenging. Of course, if you don't know how to navigate, you'll probably end up at the North Pole. So you've taken it too far. So you've got to put it into the right perspective, into the right balance. What it amounts to, I guess what I'm advocating here is that for most of you, I think that as a spiritual suggestion, your life will work a lot better if you live a little more dangerously. A whole bunch of people in this room are going, your life will work a lot better if you live more dangerously. If you start to incorporate some wise risking into your life. Any questions or comments before we do a process on this that I think will show you a lot? Yes, ma'am. Would you stand, please?
I think you've discussed a lot about freedom and challenge, and what I haven't heard is that freedom requires a certain amount of responsibility. And I don't think we have to be responsible for each other, but we are responsible to each other.
Yes, ma'am. I totally agree.
And we don't, no matter how correct we are, and we kind of been putting down the poor born-again Christians because I accept everybody where they are, and I hope they do me too. If we don't share, the power and the knowledge, we're not going to succeed, either individually or as a group. So there has to be another way to challenge ourselves and to challenge each other.
I'm not talking about challenge each other. I'm talking about you challenging yourself.
Somehow the responsibility of even challenging myself I haven't heard the word, and I'm wondering why we haven't discussed that.
All right. Now, you have not heard the word responsibility. I guess that's implied. Maybe you're correct. Maybe I should be talking more in terms of responsibility, but I thought I expressed it quite well when we got into karma. The idea that take responsibility for your life, totally, 100%. It's you and you alone. Sure. And you can't step on other people in any way, shape, or form. I talked about the idea of assertiveness. It's always all right to be assertive, which is standing up for your own human rights. But it's never all right to be aggressive. It's never all right to step on somebody else's human rights in any way, shape, or form. Sure, responsibility. I totally agree with you. And challenge. Anyone else? Yes, would you stand, please?
Say you have detached. You practice detaching, and you practice stepping on things, and you practice accepting what is. How do you not waste energy on those that are surrounding you who focus negative energy on you? Say, I get a lot of that I let people step all over me. I let people take advantage of me. I need to stand up for myself. I respond with, that is who I am. That is, it doesn't bother me. Why does it bother you? But I feel like I waste a lot of energy sort of standing up for myself in that way, in the fact that this is just who I am. Why can't you accept this? And when a situation arises where, once again, I look like I have been taken advantage of, I once again have to go to the explanation that that's just that. I feel like I waste a lot of energy doing that with people who are surrounding me, one being my husband.
Yeah.
And,
well, how much of that energy is on getting to be right? Even if it's only on getting to be right about me being able to be who I am. What if you just say, I am who I am, and they don't understand it, and I have a lot more awareness, and I'm just going to not be bothered by it? What would happen in a case like that? Is a lot of it needing to get to be right? It's only my right that you people should leave me alone and understand that I have this right, and so on. We all get stuck on that. I get stuck on that.
Right. Do you apply the challenge in that type of aspect, though? I mean, would I turn that around and say, okay, I challenge,
I wouldn't. No, I don't think that works very well. Now, if someone is stepping on your human rights, yes, you certainly have a right to stand up for yourself.
Mm.
You know, the right to defend yourself, the right to stand up for yourself is one of the key human rights to me.
Mm.
But I'm really talking more about something that makes your life really exciting and fun and thrilling. Something that is generating and I'm talking about all areas of your life. We have a lot of areas of life. We're talking about your social life, we're talking about your sex life, we're talking about your relationship, your career, your spirituality, and so on. There's a lot of areas, separate areas to our lives. Hopefully, ideally, in all areas, there's aliveness and challenge, and it's thrilling and it's fun. It's not boring. It's not ho-hum. In other words, and what I'm getting to here, and what I want to find out in the process by asking you quite a few questions, is your energy moving forward, or is it moving backward in this area of your life, in this one, and this one? If it is challenge and excitement and aliveness that is pushing the energy forward, that's great. If you have it happening, wonderful. If you don't, maybe you need to make some changes. If the energy is pulling you back, if you've decided, okay, well, it's just time to go back and transform your energy. Your energy is moving forward or backward. Overall, I'd say, I don't know, there's no instrument to measure it, but overall, each person in here is really still moving in one direction or the other. But most of us have one area that's probably pulling back. Maybe the others are pushing forward. But if we could say, all right, this person's moving forward at 65 percentile, this person's in 85 percentile. Is your energy moving forward or backward? Are you excited about life and challenged and with a sense of purpose? Love to get up in the morning, can't wait to get going, rock and roll? Or is it just plain ho-hum? Here we go again. Because if it's here we go, getting through the day, no place I really want to go, your energy's moving backwards. There's not a whole lot of reason for you to be here a whole long time. Let's do a process.
All right. You are now perfectly comfortable, and it's time to begin to watch the screen. Soften your focus and keep your eyes on the center of the screen. Breathe deeply and relax completely. Breathe deeply and relax completely. Take a deep breath in and hold it for as long as you comfortably can. And then let the breath slowly out through slightly parted lips. And when you think the breath is all the way out, contract your stomach muscles and push it even further out and further out. Then repeat the process. And as you do, you feel yourself just begin to let go and relax, relax, relax. You're breathing deeply and relaxing completely and allowing the quietness of spirit to come in. Slow down your thoughts. When external thoughts come into your mind, simply brush them aside and return your attention to the screen and the sound of my voice. As you breathe deeply and relax completely. Breathing deeply and relaxing. So relaxed and so at ease, so relaxed and so at ease. And in just a moment, I'm going to begin to relax your body one part at a time. And as I do, you can accelerate the process by mentally sending relaxing signals to that part of your body. So let's begin now with the toes of your feet. And the relaxing power is coming into the toes of both of your feet at the same time. It's moving right on down into the ball, into your arches, into your heels, and right on up to your ankle. Completely relaxed, completely relaxed. Now feel the relaxing power moving up your legs to the knees. Relaxing all the muscles as it goes, and moving on up your legs now to your thighs and to your hips, permeating every cell and every atom. And the relaxing power now comes into the fingers of both of your hands. Feel your hands relaxing, and feel the relaxing power move on up into your forearm, relaxing your forearm. And on up now into your upper arms, just completely relaxing your upper arms. And your fingers and hands and forearms and upper arms. And now, just completely relax. And the relaxing power now moves on down into the base of your spine. Feel the warmth in the base of your spine, and feel it begin to move very slowly up your spine, up your spine, up your spine, and into the back of your neck and shoulder muscle. And the back of your neck and shoulder muscles are now loose and limp, loose and limp, just completely relaxed. And the relaxing power now moves on up the back of your neck and into your scalp, relaxing your scalp. Feel your scalp relaxing. And it's now draining down into your facial muscle. Your eyes are relaxed and tired and heavy, but you keep them open and focus softly upon the screen. Your facial muscles are relaxing. Your jaw is relaxed. Allow a little space between your teeth, and your throat is relaxed. Your entire body is now relaxed all over in every way, and all tension is gone from your body and mind. And as you continue to watch the screen, I want you to imagine yourself going into the screen, into the screen, into the screen. As you go down, 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 deeper and deeper into a relaxing level of mind, deeper and deeper as I count backwards from 7 to 1, letting go of the physical and going down, 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 into receptive mental realms. Number 7. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 5. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 4. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 3. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 2. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 1. And you are now very open and receptive. Your body is going to sleep, but your mind is awake and alert on all levels. We are removing the filters that normally separate you from subconscious and superconscious awareness. And you are deep. But let's go down even deeper. Number 7. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 5. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 4. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 3. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 2. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 1. And you are now very, very deep. And I want to give you a self-releasing suggestion. If at any time you desire to awaken to full beta consciousness, simply count yourself up from 1 to 5 and say the words, wide awake. You're in control and can awaken yourself at any time. And now, as new impressions appear, continue to focus softly upon the center of the screen and take a deep, deep breath. And as you let it out slowly, imagine your body relaxing as it's never relaxed before. All right. You are relaxed and at ease and ready to objectively explore your own life and your present levels of aliveness. Aliveness is excitement, enjoyment in experiencing what you experience. It's that blood-pumping exhilaration that makes you feel glad to be alive. It's the challenge and the joy and the stimulation and pleasure that makes life worth living. And in this session, I'm going to be asking you many yes and no questions, and you'll judge the results. So first,
Let's begin now with your career. Do you presently experience aliveness in your career? Yes or no? Is there any real challenge in your career? Yes or no? Are you growing in your career? Yes or no? Are you satisfied with your career? Yes or no? All right, now if you answered no to many of the questions, you are not living up to your career potential or you are stagnating. So, if there is no real challenge in your career, what could you do to create challenge and aliveness? Would you have to start a new career, or alter your career, or change locations? The question is, what could you do to create challenge and aliveness in your career? And now, let's explore your primary relationship. And if you don't have a primary relationship but desire one, I'd like you to focus upon why you haven't created the space in your life to manifest a relationship. Okay, first question. Do you presently experience aliveness in your primary relationship? Yes or no? Is there still challenge in your primary relationship? Yes or no? Are you presently involved in stimulating activities that you share together, activities other than sex? Yes or no? Are you growing in your relationship? Yes or no? Are you satisfied with your relationship? Yes or no? Do you really communicate in your relationship? Yes or no? All right, now again, if you answered no to many of these questions, you are stagnating or not living up to your potential for a warm, fulfilling, joyful relationship in which you share mutual personal growth. So, if there's no real challenge in your relationship, what could you do to create challenge and aliveness? All right. Now, let's explore your sex life. Do you presently experience aliveness in your sex life? Yes or no?
Is there any real challenge in your sex life? Yes or no? Are you repressing your sexual desires in any way? Yes or no? Do you truly communicate your sexual desires to your partner? Yes or no? Are you satisfied with your sex life? Yes or no? And again, if you answered no to many of these questions, you are repressing or dissipating your sexual energy. So, the question is, what could you do to create aliveness in your sex life? And before you answer that question in your mind, be aware that sexual conduct should never cause pain or harm to others, or turbulence or disturbance in ourselves. Now, with that awareness in mind, what could you do to create aliveness in your sex life? Okay. The next questions are in regard to your social life and social involvements. First, do you presently experience aliveness in your social life and social involvements? Yes or no? Is there still a challenge in your social life? Yes or no? Are you open to exploring new social avenues of fulfillment? Yes or no? Are you satisfied with your social life? Yes or no? All right. Again, if you answered no to many of these questions, you aren't living up to your potential for an exciting, challenging social life. So, if there is no real aliveness in your social life, what can you do to create it? And now, the next questions are in regard to your spiritual searching. First, do you experience aliveness in your spiritual involvements and seeking? Yes or no? Is there still a challenge in your spiritual search? Yes or no? Are you still open to exploring new spiritual potentials, concepts, and ideas? Yes or no? Are you really growing spiritually? Yes or no? And if you answered no to many of these questions, you are probably spiritually stagnating. And the question to ask yourself is, what can I do to generate aliveness in my spiritual life? All right. This process is a good indicator as to how much challenge you are experiencing in your life. Remember, stagnation is self-destruction, for energy can't stand still. It must move forward or backward, and you are energy. So, how about it? Are you experiencing aliveness, or is it time to consider living dangerously or creating some new challenges in your life? Maybe it's time to reject the commands of power, to reject the dictates of society and public opinion, and to stop worrying about what other people think about what you do. I'd like you to meditate about any changes that you feel you should make in your life. Do this now while I'm quiet for a while. You have the power and ability to create your own reality, to change what isn't working and to manifest what you desire. And on the count of 5, you will awaken, remembering everything you just experienced. Your head will be clear, You'll be thinking and acting with calm self-assurance, feeling glad to be alive. You will feel at peace with yourself, the world, and everyone in it. Number 1, you're coming on up now and you sense an expanding spiritual light within. Number 2, you're coming on up and at peace with all life. Number 3, coming on up and you sense an inner balance and harmony. Number 4, recall the situation in the room. And number 5, wide awake, open your eyes and feel good. Number 5, wide awake.
Okay. I don't do this particular session very often. I really like to do it. I just rewrote it for this seminar. This is an important communication to me. It's about Dharma. It's about soul goals. And quite a few years ago, I asked for help from the other side on creating a lot of the systems that I'm sharing with you here, especially this one, where I asked for help, and this is only part of it, but this is the most important part. I asked for help in developing a system, and I used automatic writing, which is a very powerful medium for me, to come up with something that would help people to find their purpose, their earthly purpose, to get a little closer to what they maybe should be doing in regard to their Dharma, how it all fits together. In other words, your purpose in life. And as I said in the beginning of the seminar, your purpose is to learn to let go of fear and learn to express unconditional love. But how are you supposed to do this? Through what channel are you supposed to accomplish this? Now, Dharma is our responsibility to ourself and to society, probably based upon something that you've experienced in the past, probably based upon past lifetimes. I mean, I'm sure it is. So, it is said by a lot wiser people than me that your karma conditions you, creating the character to fulfill your Dharma. In other words, your past karma has conditioned you through your past lifetimes and this lifetime up until right now to be the sort of person that it's going to take to fulfill your Dharma. And probably most of you in this room are already working on fulfilling your Dharma. You always have the free choice not to. You would always have the free choice, the free will to decide not to skip it this time. I think you'd probably be wasting an incarnation, but it's your right. Nobody's going to force you to do anything, but you've chosen to do this. So the secret is going to be to simply listen to your inner direction, to respond to that internal, what your guide is whispering in your ear, what you know is right. But yet maybe we can do a session here, and maybe we can get a little closer to it. What I was told, combine these two, and actually combine a third session that is not necessary, because most of you in this room are on a metaphysical path, and so we'll assume that the third system over here it's not part of this, is metaphysical. What I was told is that you would be basically here to fulfill your Dharma within one of the basic professions, and they gave me 7 professions. The workforce, which would be where most of the people are probably going to end up. This would be the majority of general occupations, and it would include homemakers, people who would stay home, women who would stay home and raise children. Next is military. These would be soldiers or any form of police or militia, anyone who's enforcing the laws. Service. This would be a lot of the religious workers, the medical, social service people, psychologists, practicing metaphysicians, holistic people. 4, I was given as creativity. This would be all the writers or the artists, the poets, the musicians, the actors, the entertainers, and so on. 5 would be science, including, of course, all the scientists, the physicists, the medical researchers, space technologists, all of that. 6 was philosophy. This would be anybody who tries to explain why man does what he does. This would include some church leaders and some metaphysical communicators and pure philosophers. And the last was government, people who are elected to office, anyone in a position of being elected to office. So you would have a basic dharmic direction that you are here to work in. Now, combine that with a soul goal, and you start to see a pretty tight direction. Now, I'm not going to really pin in, I'm just going to give you the top of this in regard to the soul goals. I contend that, again, before you were born, you chose one of 7 soul goals. Now, you probably have more than one. But my guess is that one is of primary importance. The next is secondary importance, and so on. All of these goals are going to amount to karmic self-testing. And of course, the overall goal is always going to be spiritual growth. But when you combine the soul goal with the dharmic direction, you start to see a clearer picture of what you're here to do. The first would be to attain knowledge, and I'll explain that in much more detail in the process that we're going to do. 2 would be to open spiritually. 3 would be to achieve inner harmony. 4, attain fame or power. 5, to learn acceptance. 6, to provide support. 7, to develop a talent. Now, each of those requires much more explanation, but again, that will be part of the process. I have a dharmic direction or destiny of philosophy. I listed the 7 basic areas, minus philosophy. I have a soul goal of providing support. That's what I've been told. It makes a lot of sense with what I do. In my case, the philosophy is a very self-actualized metaphysical philosophy. I believe it is the philosophy of the people of Teotihuacan, and that a lot of us are back here, and a lot of us, and a lot of you in this room share this. And it may not be your primary soul goal, but you have as one of your goals to support, each in your own way, maybe just talking with friends, but sharing these ideas, because there's a lot of us who were down there in Teotihuacan about 1,400 years ago, and we've given a lot of energy to coming back. Now, I have as a lesser soul goal, as an example, developing a talent, developing writing, and it's something I work at all the time, learning to be a better writer. But the first soul goal is to provide support for this philosophy, for this thinking, through the communication of this thinking and the spreading of this thinking. I have a friend who is an art director in Phoenix. He was really into these ideas. And as an art director, I wasn't surprised at all to find out that his dharmic direction or dharmic destiny was creativity. Makes sense, but he saw, along with the experiencing of the dharmic destiny, very vivid visualizations of himself being, I think back in Spain, if I remember correctly, where he was painting murals on the side of buildings. And the murals were causing quite a bit of unrest among the people. They were politically centered. And then his soul goal was to learn acceptance. And it fit quite tightly together when he looked at it. Learning acceptance really means what it amounts to is learning to accept that what is. And he realized that in Spain that his work had created incredible unrest. He realized that his need to learn acceptance in this life was even in his everyday, day-to-day work with the account executives that he had to work with within the ad agency. And he said he would always fight for his way, even when he knew it was in his clients, it wasn't in his client's best interest. He'd still fight for his way, the way that might win more art director show awards or design awards. And he said, I've got to learn that my thinking something is so just doesn't make it so. So he had learning acceptance and creativity combined to show him a pretty clear picture of what he needed to be working on in this lifetime. I have another friend who is a psychologist, real good psychologist in the Venice area here in California. And her dharmic direction is service. That's what she got when we did this session. And her soul goal was to achieve inner harmony. And she said, boy, does that make sense? Because she gets so as she works with the people in social services, she gets so riled up by the inequity, the suffering. She becomes an activist, and she never experiences inner harmony. She's always wired and upset and trying to challenge what is and change it and fighting the good fight, actually. Everybody in this room would applaud her, I'm sure, because of the things that she stands for. But there's no inner harmony in her life. She came back this lifetime to be involved in service work. That's fulfilling her karma and her dharma. But she's got to learn inner harmony as part of it, or it isn't going to work for her. So I want to do a session. I'd like to use the rest of the time that we have here this afternoon. It won't be very long. And I want you to be more open now than you have been in any of these sessions that we've done up until now. I'm going to take you a little deeper this time. I want to count you down from 7 to 1, and then I'm going to count you down again from 7 to 1. And when I do that, I'd like you to imagine yourself going down. Visualize yourself going down, down, down. So we'll go a little deeper. And then I'm going to ask you, I'm going to go through all of this, I'm going to explain it, and then I'm going to say, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, you're going to know your dharmic direction. And then I'd like you to perceive everything you can about it. See what visualizations come in. Maybe you can pick up stuff from the past. And then we'll go in and we'll explore the soul goals, and then we'll try to put it all together before I bring you back. Okay? Let's do a session.
All right. You are now perfectly comfortable, and it's time to begin to watch the screen. Soften your focus and keep your eyes on the center of the screen. Breathe deeply and relax completely. Breathe deeply and relax completely. Take a deep breath in and hold it for as long as you comfortably can. And then let the breath slowly out through slightly parted lips. And when you think the breath is all the way out, contract your stomach muscles and push it even further out and further out. Then repeat the process. And as you do, you feel yourself just begin to let go and relax, relax, relax. You're breathing deeply and relaxing completely and allowing the quietness of spirit to come in. Slow down your thoughts. When external thoughts come into your mind, simply brush them aside and return your attention to the screen and the sound of my voice. As you breathe deeply and relax completely. Breathing deeply and relaxing completely. So relaxed and so at ease, so relaxed and so at ease. And in just a moment, I'm going to begin to relax your body one part at a time. And as I do, you can accelerate the process by mentally sending relaxing signals to that part of your body. So let's begin now with the toes of your feet. And the relaxing power is coming into the toes of both of your feet at the same time. It's moving right on down into the ball, into your arches, into your heels, and right on up to your ankle. Completely relaxed. Completely relaxed. Now feel the relaxing power moving up your legs to the knees, relaxing all the muscles as it goes, and moving on up your legs now to your thighs and to your hips, permeating every cell and every atom. And the relaxing power now comes into the fingers of both of your hands. Feel your hands relaxing, and feel the relaxing power move on up into your forearm, relaxing your forearm. And on up now into your upper arms, just completely relaxing your upper arms. And your fingers and hands and forearms and upper arms. And now, just completely relax. And the relaxing power now moves on down into the base of your spine. Feel the warmth in the base of your spine and feel it begin to move very slowly up your spine, up your spine, up your spine, and into the back of your neck and shoulder muscle. And the back of your neck and shoulder muscles are now loose and limp, loose and limp, just completely relaxed. And the relaxing power now moves on up the back of your neck and into your scalp, relaxing your scalp. Feel your scalp relaxing. And it's now draining down into your facial muscle. Your eyes are relaxed and tired and heavy, but you keep them open and focus softly upon the screen. Your facial muscles are relaxing. Your jaw is relaxed. Allow a little space between your teeth, and your throat is relaxed. Your entire body is now relaxed all over in every way, and all tension is gone from your body and mind. And as you continue to watch the screen, I want you to imagine yourself going into the screen, into the screen, into the screen. As you go down, 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 deeper and deeper into a relaxing level of mind, deeper and deeper as I count backwards from 7 to 1, letting go of the physical and going down, down, down into receptive mental realms. Number 7. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 5. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 4. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 3, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 2, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 1. And you are now very open and receptive. Your body is going to sleep, but your mind is awake and alert on all levels. We are removing the filters that normally separate you from subconscious and superconscious awareness. And you are deep. But let's go down even deeper. Number 7. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 5. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 4. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 3. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 2. Deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 1. And you are now very, very deep. And I want to give you a self-releasing suggestion. If at any time you desire to awaken to full beta consciousness, simply count yourself up from 1 to 5 and say the words, wide awake. You're in control and can awaken yourself at any time. And now, as new impressions appear, continue to focus softly upon the center of the screen and take a deep, deep breath. And as you let it out slowly, imagine your body relaxing as it's never relaxed before. And you are now relaxed and at ease and centered upon achieving your goals. You are at peace and feel in balance and in harmony. A quietness of spirit permeates your body and mind, and it's time to explore your Dharmic destiny and soul goal. Now, Dharma is your responsibility to yourself and society. By following your self-nature, you fulfill your purpose and raise your level of awareness. Your karmic experiences create the character required to fulfill your Dharma. Naturally, you always have free will to choose not to fulfill your Dharma, but this probably means wasting a valuable incarnation. Your Dharma is natural and destined for you. And by fulfilling this responsibility, you resolve your karma. Now, there are 7 general Dharmic occupational destinies, and I contend it is your earthly purpose to explore one of these directions in combination with a particular soul goal. So now, listen closely as I relate the 7 Dharmic occupational destinies. Number 1 is workforce. And this includes most general occupations, including homemakers.
Number 2 is military and includes soldiers, police, and militia, those who enforce the laws. Number 3 is service, and this includes those in the medical field, social services, welfare, most religious workers, and metaphysical practitioners. Number 4 is creativity and includes artists, writers, poets, musicians, actors, dancers, and entertainers. Number 5 is science and includes scientists, space technologists, physicists, and medical researchers. Number 6 is philosophy and includes all who present theories about why man does what he does and how he might end suffering. Number 7 is government and includes anyone serving government or elected to public office. All right, now be open to higher awareness and perceive your dharmic destiny. You may or may not already be fulfilling your dharma, but it's time to become aware of your intended destiny. Which is your dharmic occupational destiny? Workforce, military, service, creativity, science, philosophy, or government? Let the awareness come in on the count of 3 and perceive everything of importance in regard to this destiny. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. All right. You should now have an awareness of your dharmic destiny. And once you combine this knowledge with an understanding of your soul goal, you will have a picture of your earthly purpose. Now, before your birth, you also chose one of 7 basic soul goals. You can have more than one goal, but one will be most important, the next secondary in importance, and so on. So now, let's look at the 7 soul goals. Number 1 is to attain knowledge. This means a particular area of knowledge which, when attained on a soul level, becomes wisdom. The desire for awareness could include one or more of the numerous human attributes, such as direct knowledge of humility, devotion, persistence, sacrifice, selflessness, or perseverance. Soul goal number 2 is to open spiritually. This means to integrate spiritual awareness into your dharmic destiny.
Soul goal number 3 is to achieve inner harmony, which means to attain balance and peace of mind while fulfilling your Dharma. Soul goal number 4 is to attain fame or power. Both fame and power are karmic rewards and offer unique opportunities to communicate awareness and exert leadership. Soul goal number 5 is to learn acceptance, which can be summarized as an awareness of what is. It is your resistance to what is that causes your suffering. Soul goal number 6 is to provide support. This could amount to the encouragement and support of another individual in the accomplishment of a jointly shared Dharmic destiny, or to support an idea or a religious or philosophical belief. Soul goal number 7 is to develop a talent. Talents are developed over many lifetimes, so the goal could be in the beginning, intermediary, or advanced stage of creative pursuit. All right, now again, open to higher awareness. It's time to perceive your primary soul goal. You may or may not already be working on your soul goal, but it's time to become aware of your destiny. What is your primary soul goal? To attain knowledge, and if so, what area of knowledge? To open spiritually, to achieve inner harmony, to attain fame or power, to learn acceptance, to provide support, or to develop a talent. Now let this awareness come in on the count of 3 and perceive everything of importance in regard to this soul goal. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. All right. You should now have an awareness of your Dharmic destiny and your soul goal. So now take a few minutes to meditate upon how this combination relates to your earthly purpose, your present life, and your future. Do this now while I am quiet for a while. And I hope you find joy in your awareness. On the count of 5, you will awaken, remembering everything you just experienced. Your head will be clear, and you'll be thinking and acting with calm self-assurance, feeling glad to be alive. You will feel at peace with yourself, the world, and everyone in it. Number 1, you're coming on up now, and you sense an expanding spiritual light within. Number 2, you're coming on up and at peace with all life. Number 3, coming on up and you sense an inner balance and harmony. Number 4, recall the situation in the room. And number 5, wide awake, open your eyes and feel good. Number 5, wide awake.
The question is on subliminals.
Yes, sir.
I'm a little frightened of them, and I wonder whether you have any evidence, or whether you know for certain whether any subliminals which may be below the auditory level can still get into the subconscious.
What do you mean by below the auditory level?
I have the cans on, but I really don't hear it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's ways to put subliminals into a tape so that you cannot get them out. Nobody, no matter what the equipment, really can hardly get them out. You can tell if there's something there. There's a big chain of stores in Nevada, metaphysical stores, started from there. I think they're all over now. I'm not going to mention the name, but we've gotten the word within the last month that our two of our major competitors, this store is tossing out all of their tapes because they've used every kind of analyzing equipment that's available and found out there's no subliminals at all on them. So I thought, oh, that's wonderful. I hope they publicize that a lot. They're keeping our line in there because they check the subliminals, and the subliminals were exactly what we say they are. But subliminals could be used anywhere. They may be used on television all the time. Our engineers at the office, Bobby Slapp, could tell a television engineer, if he doesn't know how to put them in there, so nobody's really going to discover them, and that's unless they use the most sophisticated equipment to try to go in and discover if they're there, and then, or if something's there. So we could be exposed to subliminals on all sides. People think there's been laws passed against subliminals. There's not. There's no laws. There may be FCC rulings and a few things, but there's no real laws that have been passed. I have been contacted by people, politicians, wanting subliminals to be built into things, wanting me to voice stuff for them. I've been contacted by a chain of fast food that wanted subliminals built into their, when you drive up and order into the voice box. I mean, we're talking a lot of craziness, but here's the thing on subliminals. And of course, I've told them where to go very quickly. I believe way too much in karma to deal with that. Subliminals are great for support, but they're not really anywhere near as powerful as the program, as people would have you think they are, number one, and anywhere near as powerful as altered state work or sleep programming. You really want to change. Use the subliminal during the day. I worked with my own writer subliminals last night while I was doing some studying, doing some reading. Kids are watching TV, so I put on the headset and I'm listening to my own subliminals. It's great support, but I would much prefer to work with the sleep programming, work with the other. I really wouldn't fear it. And they're not going to cause you to do anything that you're not inclined to do. The old example, I think, that was in Omni, where they'd done some research work, they said, if you listen to, as an example here, if you hear a subliminal over and over and over again that says, buy a new Toyota, buy a new Toyota, buy a new Toyota, it's not going to convince a Cadillac owner to buy a Toyota, but it might cause the Cadillac owner to start thinking about buying a new Cadillac. It really won't cause you to do something that is totally alien to what you would want to do in the first place. Okay. Right here.
Do you have any suggestions as to how to get rid of your anger? You know, I feel I have a lot of anger in my...
Yeah. A lot of people, we all have anger, I think, within us.
Well, I don't want to have it. I want to get rid of it.
I know you don't want to have. None of us want to have any inner anger. I'd like to figure out a way to take the anger out of these inner city kids and so on. One thing, boy, incredible anger, juvenile
now,
delinquents that I've seen lately.
You said that too much meditation, you know, wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
I found the biggest thing that helped me was meditating twice a day, every morning and every evening. Now that helped me more than anything.
Well, that may have helped you with the anger, but what did it do to your relationships?
Right. Okay. After doing this about 5 or 6 years, I became just, you know, blah. And I didn't have any personality, and and I was dull and boring, and I thought, the hell with this, and I just quit.
Thank you. Case in point.
But I have this anger.
Yeah.
I have a short fuse.
I think it will come more out of wisdom than anything else. It does for me.
Well, I think you're right there.
It has to come out of just awareness, understanding, who am I hurting? I'm hurting me. What are my expectations? Obviously, I have expectations of approval or control. Is that my right? Of course not. I don't want to have to perform and command the way other people want me to perform. This is ridiculous. And just reminding yourself over and over and over again that it isn't making sense, and not having expectations that tomorrow it's going to, just a miracle, it'll be gone. There's plenty of people who would promise you that. It's all bullshit, but they would promise you that kind of result. Just keep at it, logically. Good luck. You're not alone. We have a gentleman right here that had his hand up before, and he didn't have a mic.
You talk about astrology, which is sort of predestination, as I look at it. How do you rationalize that with being responsible for yourself?
Well, all that astrology would do would be to put you on a particular path. You're still totally responsible. In other words, you may want to come in with a, like one of my sons, he's a Leo with Aries moon and Aries rising. Got a picture of him? Okay, that's set him on the path. That's given him the kind of energy that he's going to be dealing with. His feet moving faster than his head, probably the better part of his life. He came in with particular parents. He came under certain situations. Okay, that's a pathway, but that has nothing to do with being responsible for your life. He needed to learn under this set of conditions, is really all it is. It's a set of conditions. Somebody else comes in with let's say a very balanced Libra, and Capricorn rising, Capricorn moon, maybe Libra sun, and they're born in the inner city. Wow, now all of a sudden you have somebody very practical and very balanced in this incredible environment that he has to grow up within. Okay, now we have all the people looking at each other going, oh good, Libra sun, that's me, gee. You see how each is going to set a person basically upon a path. And it's certainly not locked in, and it's really not a whole lot of predestination. There are factors built in. I used to ask all the psychics that I'd worked with, and I've worked with some of the best in the land. I'd say, how much do you believe in predestination? And usually they would say, well, to a pretty good degree, because most people don't seem to try to better themselves. Most people don't seem to care enough about self-actualized thinking to rise above basically what they set down for themselves to experience. So you can follow an astrology chart and fairly well see where somebody is and where they're going. But the moment you begin to become involved in the kind of ideas that we're sharing here in this room, that astrology chart means less and less and less. The moment you start looking to self-actualization, you rise above the astrology chart. You might have this terrible situation coming up in your astrology chart, but because of your thinking, because of the way you look at things, the way you respond to things, it's not going to have that big an effect on you. It may to this person over here, but if nothing else, you've learned to look at things as an opportunity for learning, let's say. You don't view it as the end of the world. You can see the gift in the experience. And maybe you've mitigated your awareness to the degree that you don't have to experience this undesirable effect at all.
Okay, thank you.
But I watch the charts pretty well. I have done certain things to mitigate circumstances, like with my daughter, making sure she was with the right parent that had the right strength at the right time and was kept away from certain situations, because it was such a heavy, heavy factor in the chart. I give it a lot of serious credence. I give palmistry incredible amount of respect, because my wife is just a great palmist, and she's proven to me. I guess the best example is my father-in-law, who doesn't believe in any of this. He is a Ronald Reagan supporter and thinks that his daughter has married a loon. And Tara got him an astrology chart for Christmas, a computerized astrology chart. And he had to admit, my God, I don't think he believed it. I think he thinks she made it up. Because it's like reading his mail. Boy, it's all there. He's there, totally. And I think he has to deny that it's real. Otherwise, he'd have to face up to things he does not want to face up to.